Bamm Ericsen here on AFTERBUZZ TV for Season 2 Ballers, Enter the Temple. We got a lot to talk about. DJ, kick it, let's go.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
That's right.
Ooh, I like the lights.
Some of that shit you just can't fuck
A little old school. Dog Pounders Playhouse.
Take me back to the 90s.
Yeah.
for the non-fever.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Bamm Ericsen with AFTERBUZZ TV for Baller Season 2. I would like to introduce the lovely panel.
Hi, I'm Jill Munroe. You can find me on Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, @StilettoJill.
Welcome back, Ballers fans. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram @Suzette Babb.
And again, I'm Bamm Ericsen, and you can find me on all social media @Bamm Ericsen. So let's get right into it. So Spencer now is in a lot of pain, probably from the scuffle that he had with T Sizzle. So his hip is hurting, and so now he has taken his last two Vicodin pills, and so he is in pain. He needs the pain. We obviously see there is a major problem with this, and so let's just have an open discussion about this particular topic. So he has he's run out of medication. He's gone to his doctor, who will only give him one prescription, which will only allow him to have 20 pills.
Yes. And then in 10 days he has to do a physical.
Yeah.
And then obviously go back to her. But I have a bad feeling. I have a bad feeling where this is going to turn, possibly buying some Vicodin off the streets or going into Tracy's cupboard. That was great. So Vernon just got injured. I mean, it's a slippery slope.
I think that we're going to see if Spencer can learn to ration. That's going to be a problem. But I think that it's more than just, I think his hip pain is definitely bothering him, but I think that there's some psychological attachment there too. I think that it's something deeper, and once again, he's going to look to avoid it. He's going to blow off that doctor's appointment. There's no way that he probably wants to get into that, because if it does, he might uncover his addiction, and that's not something he's ready to deal with.
Well, something Spencer's doctor said was when you were at a Series 2 level, so he's not taking them leisurely for pain. So at the level that he's at a much higher level, which means she mentioned that a lot of it can cause a couple things. You can be depressed, you have anger issues, and as well as liver failure. So we already know that he has an anger issue and possibly already depressed.
Yeah, he does go through emotion.
And right, and the fact that now he's seeking revenge on Andre, who mismanaged his money.
These are also, you have to wonder, are these also signs of pre-CTE? I know he's been cleared technically, but something is definitely going on with him, and it rings true to a lot of things that you hear about real-life retired NFL players, things that they go through. So I think that this isn't something that's going to wrap up quick. We're not going to see an easy resolution to this if it's just, okay, get rehab or something. There's something much deeper going on there with Spencer right now.
Oh yeah, it's definitely more, I think, mental than physical, like you said. And I'm surprised that, especially this episode, we're seeing Joe as being like the sensible one, and now we're really seeing, Spencer's kind of just going off the coop. He's just doing whatever he wants, and he even got a little intenser with Joe when he just took him by the shirt there, and that didn't even need to be.
It's definitely something going on with Spencer.
Well, I think with that situation, I will defend Spence, because I don't care if you are the calmest person. If someone continues to be in your face and say something, even with your friends, like there's just certain words or certain things that you do that you should have as boundaries, and to continue to call him pussy and just to do this, just the tone that he was using it was not appropriate, especially for someone who plays a sport where
masculinity,
your head. Right.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. I feel like that's their relationship, though, where they dig at each other. And because Spencer's on edge, I feel that Joe probably knows how far he can push him. And under ordinary circumstances, he may not have reached that point yet. It's just that Spencer's dealing with a lot of other things, so he snapped. I think that it's something going on, and obviously there's going to be a test to their relationship.
And then, so now let's move a little bit to Tracy, his
kind of girlfriend.
What
his
do you-
boo.
yeah, what-
It's
yeah.
his
Lady
boo.
friend.
That's
Yeah.
his lady friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I
so-
like them together too.
I do
really
too.
do.
They really have each other's back. And with Tracy, we didn't see her in episode 1, but in this episode, she had a meeting with her boss in regards to the equal pay, which is a very hot topic. So I thought that was great for them to
Right.
to intercede that into this, especially with sports and hosting.
Because it's a big thing. There is a large disparity between hosts, and we know, especially for women, there's a short time span for them to sort of be able to get theirs. They can get pushed out of the way because of ageism and other things like that. So for her to have been at the network for 4 years and someone just coming in and she's $20,000 under him pay-wise, that is a slap in the face and something that you want to address. I don't know if you just up and quit like that, but I guess, Tracy had some things she needed to get off her chest.
Absolutely, but I would have been interested to see what their relationship used to be, because he called her legs so casually. And listen, I'm a woman. I don't want anyone calling me babe, hottie. But, was it before? Did they have that kind of relationship? Was it tongue in cheek?
Season 1, I feel like they did. I remember seeing them.
I would think that was the nature of their relationship, and that he uses those kind of things, and it's probably one of those things where the field of work that she's in, she just deals with it. But at this particular point, 4 years, someone gets hired, gets $20,000 more. He's a guy. She had her breaking point, just as I said. I felt like Spence at that moment had his breaking point. So her breaking point was like, F you, I'm done, I quit.
Exactly.
Because he just dismissed her. He just
completely.
In the same breath that he turned around and, oh, by the way, I know that you have an in on things that are going on over there with the Dolphins, so get that out for us.
So do you think, rather than quitting, do you think, okay, because she obviously do have bigger resources than I would assume probably anybody on the staff, and so before maybe she used her resources in order to help build her reputation at the job for 4 years. So do you think at that point should she have quit, or should she said, okay, listen, I've scratched you guys' back numerous times, so now if you want me to use my connects, I need a bigger pay. Do you think she should have played it that way?
I feel like she should have. I think that's her trump card. That's her ace in the hole. 4 years professional, all the things that she could lay out. And, oh, by the way, I have it in with the Miami Dolphins franchise. Oh, and some other teams. That's important to you guys, those scoops. So leverage it out. And then the other opportunity, whatever it is, she obviously doesn't have a plan for her next play yet, but that will be there. So I think that she let emotions get the best of her, but I can understand because there was some type of friendship there, obviously, with her boss, and he was very dismissive to her, so I'm sure that had to hurt.
And then, go
I
ahead.
was just gonna say, I do agree. I think she should have waited. I don't know what her contract was like, but maybe she could have done. I don't know if she could do something on the side to try to get an exclusive, like doing her own thing with Ricky. I mean, I'm not really sure, but I think she could have waited. I think to me again, like him calling her legs, it seems like maybe how she got her start. I mean, I know it sucks, but being hot or what have you, I think she just should have waited, because it seems like the way that he talked to her, that, being a woman, she's been talked to like that before, so she could have
might
waited
have
a
had
bit
some
longer.
leverage.
And then the other thing that I would say, just on a different level, I know this is TV, she should just let her agent deal with it.
True.
So
True. Yeah.
just let her agent deal.
Absolutely true. Yeah.
Just let her agent deal with it, so she won't have to put up with that foolishness. But so now, speaking of foolishness, and I want to ask you guys a question. So now we're gonna go back to Spence and Joe, and now we're gonna add in T Sizzle. Do you think this deal that they're trying to get with him, do you think it's worth it, or do you think that they should take Joe's advice and just wait till they become official, get the deal with the league, or do you think this is a headache, or do you think this is something that they should do?
I think, it's twofold. One, they are under the gun on their business side to bring in more money, and that's a lot of pressure. We don't know what their boss might do to react to that. So from that standpoint, I understand you have to if there's blood in the water, you got to get in there and get what you can. But on the flip side of that, there are some very valid points about T-Sizzle being at the end of his career, coming off of an injury, and the setup for what's going to happen with Andre. There's already bad blood there because Andre came into the show obviously wanting to embarrass Spencer, but going after him is a risk. But in some ways, they have to do something. I do think that it might have been smarter to wait until they got their official status from the NFL. That could be a problem, don't you think? If the NFL is like, maybe not, then what are you going to do?
I think they should have spoken to Anderson. I do think that, but they might as well just take him. This is the perfect opportunity. If he's waiting for a comeback, he already feels devalued from Andre. This is the perfect opportunity.
And clearly he is.
To take a player like that.
Yeah.
I think they should just go for it. But I'm liking Joe for being a little more smart-headed right now.
I can go both ways. I think that it obviously would be smart of them to do that, because when you're going into possibly being confirmed by the league, you want to have as many spades and many trumps at your disposal. So when you have when the deal agrees when the league agrees to allow you to be official, you want to make sure you want to make sure that you're stamped. But also at the same time, T-Sizzle seems just a little weak-minded, so he seems like he's a yes man. And so he says, yes, he'll do it, but then if Andre talks to him, then Andre will talk to him in a very belittling type of way. And then, so I feel like
he's yo-yoing?
I feel like he's yo-yoing because he's weak-minded. And so he will literally be pushed out of the way, and he's just going to let them figure it out.
Well, I mean, he only can gain from the situation. Either Andre sees, oh, you were about to leave me, maybe I do need to pay a little bit more attention to you, and he wins that way. Or Spencer and Joe come together and work hard for him and get him on the other side. So for him, I'm sure it's just like whoever's going to put me in the best position to win at this point in time.
Yeah, and you saw him. He liked the party. And then, of course, when you listen to Andre, I mean, he's very persuasive. It's not like, oh, would you please come to open? It's like, I have your tickets. Let's talk business. And I mean, these guys, he just doesn't know what to do. Yeah,
he really doesn't. But I do like the bond between T-Sizzle and Spence. They're, they clearly have made up, and I feel like they genuinely have each other's back. They really
professional respect. Yeah. That's what I call it, just because they respect probably the energy and intensity they brought on the football field, and they understand being competitors. So now it's like, yeah, I can mess with you.
And then although Spencer obviously wants to get back at Andre, I do feel like Spencer does have his best interest, because T-Sizzle is in the same position that Andre was whenever he, before he got injured. So let's imagine that T-Sizzle probably has 1 or 2 good seasons left, and after that he's done. So I feel like Spencer is really trying to help him out to make sure that not only does he have that $1 million that's in the wall, he's trying to help him stretch out as much as money that he can in these 1 or 2 years left in his good legs to play football, and so that he'll be able to have stability for the rest of his life. So I'm kind of team Spencer just because.
Yeah, because Andre clearly, when he said football players don't know what they want, I mean, I know that hit Spencer deep in his heart, because he's probably like, yeah, that's exactly what you were saying about me, and look what happened to me and my money, and now you're going to do that to him. And, T-Sizzle's a Super Bowl champion.
Yeah.
So
I think he does care, and it's just that competitive nature. It's still in him.
And then final thing on this topic is, do you think that it was smart for Joe and for Spence to think that they were just going to show up, meet with Andre, and him not charge the way that he did? I think some of the words that he said was, he says, I don't lose clients and I don't lose, period. So Andre obviously knows what's going on. Do you think that it was smart for them to meet, or do you think they should have maybe played their cards a little bit more?
I think, well, they didn't have a choice, because if they would have tried to play their cards, then they would have lost T-Sizzle. So they didn't have a choice. That's what he wanted them. He wasn't going to do it, so he could not show up to the meeting. Then you're going to leave your new client to handle that. That would make him feel, once again, unappreciated. So they had no choice. They knew what they were doing when they walked in there.
Yeah,
I don't think
business.
that they expected him to act any other way than how he did. They knew that this is a war. That's why Joe was like, are you sure? Are you really sure? Are you really, really sure?
Okay, and then let's go to now Ricky. He's a free agent, and so I'll just ask this question. Do you think that Do you think his ego is going to cause him to not have a deal and he will be sitting on his ass and not playing football this season?
I think, he seems to be, when they were going through the different slides of the different teams, what he was making his decisions on, who he would think about, actually made sense. He was thinking about himself as a player and his personality and what the team had to offer. The fact that he was considering Buffalo and all that snow after being in Miami says to me he's trying to think business-wise. He's trying to think what team will put him in the best position to win and get more money. He knows that if he went to the Patriots, they're very strict. They're like the Spurs in basketball, an organization who doesn't tolerate foolishness, and he knows he's with the foolishness. He's going to be with the stuff when it comes down to it. So I think he could sit out, but that's okay.
Do you think that's a smart business decision, or do you think that, because I don't either.
I think that, like, if they were saying, a job is a job is a job. You have to go where you have to go. I mean, he's just so, like, acting like he doesn't have a choice. He is.
I feel like
a child.
Yeah, I feel like he's being a child. And so I took some of the notes. So when they were talking about the Chargers, then possibly being LA, he says that he has female problems in both cities.
Women, right.
So therefore, no. Then there was
But I think
Denver.
that, to me, that's a very, very smart thing, because we know women problems spill over into locker room problems, as we've seen with him.
But there's gonna be women
But I was gonna say,
everywhere.
so he can go to Missouri, he can go to England, and his type of behavior. Excuse me, if he sees a bad bitch, he's gonna go
Bad
after.
bitches link up.
Right, he's gonna.
get
It
with
doesn't
whoever.
matter. It doesn't matter what city that he's in. So I feel like
I
that's
think it
as an
does for
excuse.
certain players. It is an excuse, but I think it does for certain players. I think certain cities bring out the foolishness and the BS factor as a higher level than others. If he's in some place like Buffalo probably shuts down early. It's not going to be parties in the middle of the week. Maybe, he can
Listen.
still get in trouble, but I think that
He'll have
he's
his
trying
fun
to think
house in
about some of the
Buffalo.
right
That's
things.
the problem, though, too.
Listen,
The treacherous doesn't stop. It doesn't matter.
It does
doesn't
not
matter.
stop. Listen, I mean, like I said, you can be anywhere, and they will
They'll
chase
figure
after
it out.
They won't
So
care.
I just feel like I'm like with you. I feel like his reasons are a little selfish, and he's not thinking. Like I don't think a great player would think of those issues to be a reason for him not to go. I think like
Is
a
it
great.
because he's alone? Is that what it is? Because you think Vernon has his entourage? You think
Well, I feel
Charlie
like he has his
daughter?
entourage just a little pared down, because he's probably been through some things. Like, he has his professional friend who was rolling through the things. He seems to get a salary. Remember, he's the one that mentioned about the dental plan to
Reggie.
to
Reggie.
Reggie.
Yeah,
You're
so I think that I really do think that he's thinking sensibly for him.
Okay.
It may not be sensibly overall, but for him, because he knows his challenges. But we'll see.
Okay.
We'll see what
I don't know.
happens.
All right. We will. Yeah. Okay.
We're going to put a pin in that.
Yeah, we'll put but I see your point. But
I do
yeah,
too.
I do. So
You
we'll
want to
agree
put yourself
disagree.
in your best
Yeah.
environment to shine. But I
Yeah.
think anywhere he goes, he's going to find trouble.
Yeah, and if he doesn't hurry up, he will be.
It's gonna be a wrap.
Yeah, it will be a wrap. Now let's go to Vernon Reggie. So
good.
and so Fat Reggie went to Joe, and he wants to be on the payroll. First, Joe was like, "You don't do anything." So they made an agreement for $1,500. Then Joe meets with Vern and says $1,500 a week.
Mm-hmm.
Then they meet together, Reg and Vern, and they say, "All right, so what do you think?" And then Vern says 800, and Reggie says 3,000.
Mm-hmm.
Why? What was the point of meeting with Joe and coming to the agreement of 1,500 if they're going to have this thing? Because now you see this is clearly the fallout.
Ego. I think it's ego. It's ego on Reggie's part. Like, $1,500 a week. I mean, to me, $6,000 a month to do what you do, to wake him up in the morning and be his
fabulous.
inspiration.
Yeah.
I think that that's a good deal.
Yeah.
But he sees that he just got, what was that, an $18 million check last
Yeah.
week. So he's probably feeling that, $6,000 a month doesn't really cut it.
Mm-hmm.
And on the other end, I think Vernon realizes that what Reggie does is probably replaceable in many ways. So he feels a type of way about his money too.
Well, And I was just gonna guess, sorry to interrupt, that I don't think that Reggie knows that Vernon and Joe probably talked. So he was probably thinking, oh, he even talked to him, so I'm just gonna give you $3,000. But it's funny because the way that, like, as hard as I work, I hate it when you see people that don't do anything and get money. But if you're a movie star, if you're an athlete, if you have millions of dollars and you have to have your family and friends with you 24/7 to answer the phone, to make an appointment, to make your bed, just to hang out in the morning and play video games, like, kudos. I think you do deserve a salary.
I call them professional friends.
Absolutely, because you want them there. Like, if I had tons of money and I want my friends and family there, I'd much rather give you a salary and you handle your bills. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't want to pay your phone bill and your rent or what have you. I'm just going to give you a salary and then you go do that. I mean, I think it's awesome.
I do too. And I also think that Reg made a huge mistake in this whole thing because he only asked for a salary. He didn't ask for his medical and dental.
True.
He already mentioned how he had to pull a tick out his balls because he was doing something. He was doing something with Vernon and wound up, getting something. So
Some type of.
So he should have asked for the most important thing. Although I must say, with you working for Vern, you don't have any financial responsibilities because you don't pay rents.
But he mentioned he wanted to pay rent to have some place so that he could have his own place, which I was kind of proud of. I was surprised. I'm like, oh, so you don't want to stay in the mansion?
You have a soft spot for him now.
I mean, I just feel like, he's looking at his future, and that's a good thing because he sees he doesn't have much of one, so he better start something. So for me, in that position, I think good for them. He could turn out and maybe, like Turtle did in Entourage, or flip it into something more. And it starts someplace, but I think he overshot his wad, and I also think Vernon underbid him. I thought that was kind of cold that he would do him like that, like not even $1,000 a week.
Yeah, I do think Vernon definitely underbid him, but I think what should have been said was, okay, so Joe mentioned $1,500. I'm cool with that, and then at that point, if you know that you're gonna have $1,500, then start making a plan. So if you're going to be making $6,000 a month, start budgeting. I mean, obviously, I know this is a TV show. I'm being dramatic. But,
no, but I'm like,
you know,
but
but like,
yeah.
you have $6,000. So with $6,000, he's probably going to take about $3,500. And so with $3,500, live with Vernon as long as you can. So that way, only responsibility you have is your cell phone, and get you some medical, get you some dental, get Anthem.
Little savings
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It costs $25, $30 to get some dental.
And figure the rest out.
And then save the rest, and then at some point, start to make yourself a bit more valuable to him, and then you could build yourself up. But you can't go from working for free and being the homeboy all this time, and then all of a sudden say you want $6,000.
Right, and no justification on what that's really for. He definitely didn't think that one through, but once again, that's all ego. That's looking at the bigger picture. He was probably speaking a lot of French before that. We just signed this deal for $18 million. We got so
I helped him make the decisions.
Yeah.
And again, he sees how Vernon lives, and like, because I think the same thing when I see him in some of the outfits, and just like, I know it's silly because it's TV, but I'm like, how are you paying for that?
Yeah.
They shop together.
The final one is Charles. Do you guys think that he should take the deal and move to right guard, or do you think that he should be a little more of a stickler like Ricky and fight for what?
Charles
fight for your
better
position?
take that deal.
This is it. I mean, I still see him when I see him hitting Ricky. I mean, again, I just like see him in this like assistant, like always being there to help the guys. I don't know. I don't think he's gonna. I don't know. I don't think he's gonna play.
Charles
he
should take the deal. He needs to take the deal and start transitioning for his life away from the game, still within the franchise in some capacity, and think of it as an exit plan. Because otherwise, you're gonna go back to the dealership, and he didn't like that. And now there's a new baby at home, so he needs to make it do what it do.
And also remember that he's played for 12 years, which is a really long time in NFL. So if your knees are still good and your hips can still move the way it is, take the position. And not only that, but as a professional football player, there are certain positions that you grow up. If you start playing when you do Pop Warner or JFL, around the time that you're about 8 or 9, if you are a certain body part size, you play all the positions. So if you're a big guy like Charles, you've tried center, you've tried left and right guard, and you tried the tackle position. So it's not that hard of a transition to move over to the right and play right guard. You've probably played that when you were in college, or you probably played it when you were in high school. So bring your ego down, take the damn position, get your money, and maybe play 2 more seasons, stack up your money, and get the hell out of there.
Because it's all downhill from there.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, it wasn't that long ago. I don't understand why he doesn't remember what he was doing on the couch.
Yeah.
They get greedy. They want what they want, you know?
Yeah.
Ego.
But I do think that Charles will come to his senses because
he always does.
Yeah.
He didn't,
he's a good guy.
He didn't get the meeting. Even Spence was like, well, what about me? And Spence,
I have a question. Spencer is not managing him though, right?
I don't
Because there's nothing to manage, I guess. It's like I wasn't sure because,
I don't think so. I recall the character of Dooley Hill having something to do, the guy from Psych.
Oh, Larry?
No, he's the general manager, right? I thought he's the team general manager.
You're right. So,
Okay.
but I would assume that once the deal comes to fruition, probably.
But that can't be good if Spencer's not interested.
He should take the deal.
I
He
think
should take the deal.
I wouldn't say Spencer's not interested, but Spencer knows that his options are limited.
Yeah.
So I think maybe as a friend, he'll help with the paperwork. He'll get his little cut, help him, and be done.
Roll out, yeah.
All right. Anything else?
No. Where do we think Tracy's going to end up? Do we think she's going to end up at a rival, or is she going to take some time away? I'm curious.
She could be an assistant, or I don't know if Spencer would hire her.
I don't think they want to work together.
I don't think they want to work together either.
I think she wants to stay on the media side.
I think she will probably, with the help of Spencer, probably go to the rival. So Entertainment Tonight or E or Access Hollywood, she'll cross over to
ESPN to Fox Sports.
Yeah, or something. She'll cross over there, and then she'll
Or AfterBuzz. No.
Right, yeah. And she'll take her she'll take her resources and be able to do it. That's what I'm thinking. I don't see the storyline becoming so difficult or something.
Right.
I don't see it becoming something that's not something that we won't predict.
I'm just happy the Vicodin story is like really going.
I think that's a really
It's
timely
so current,
topic.
too.
Yeah, of things going on in NFL. And
just the United States. I mean, there's like house mothers being addicted. Like once you get your wisdom teeth out, and people just get addicted so fast to these painkillers.
And then I will say this regarding the doctor, the way she brushed it off. It's like, when you keep giving these people prescriptions,
enabler.
You're enabling it.
You're a cause to the problem. And so for you to just say, I'm only going to give you, one prescription with 20 pills, that should have been something that had been done a long time ago.
I think it's probably hard for her because the reality is, football's a brutal sport. And to your point, he might very well be in a lot of pain. That fight could have re-triggered something, re-injured something. I mean, we know chronic pain is something that a lot of former athletes deal with. So I think in that manner, she's sympathetic to that this time, he might have a problem, but on top of that, he might really physically need it. So I think she probably feels in a hard position, and that was her sort of middle of the road. We'll come get worked up so we can go through that and, walk through that process and address it then.
Wasn't the same doctor from last season? He was supposed to go talk to someone, but he never really did. He just talked to the... She should have brought that up too.
Yeah, and clearly, like we said, being that Charles and his wife has a kid, 9 months have gone by. So, what has he been doing? So he's obviously the taking of the pills have definitely have progressed.
Yeah.
Why? So he got the pills to begin with because of whichever last injury, basically.
Probably,
Okay.
and he's probably and I would assume that before Vicodin it was probably something else.
Yeah.
And that the pills have probably have elevated to Vicodin.
Not good.
Yeah, which is not good. I do have a comment or prediction regarding this pain, the medicine. So we'll just go into predictions right now, and we'll keep this conversation going.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Let's go, Bamm. What do you got?
The one The one thing that I hope not to see is I hope that he does not do what Erica came from All My Children, and I hope that he's not in the streets trying to find the Vicodin pills. I don't know if you guys remember that storyline on All My Children, but Erica was this model and she fell down this huge stage, and she wound up being addicted to painkillers. And so she was out on the street, and that's how she ran into Noah, who Noah married Julia. And so it was this whole big thing. But I hope that he is not in the streets.
Black market Spencer?
Yeah.
I think he will be. I think he's going to be. I mean, he already looked in her cupboard.
I do think that it's going to cross over into the black market, but I think that that's when he's going to start calling in favors. He is an ex-athlete who probably knows a great deal of other types of doctors. Or
I would like that versus you driving in your Escalade in the streets trying to find something.
Yeah, I think they're going to explore that side of it because, once again, it being timely and the NFL having such problems with it, I think that that's an issue of, these doctors or various people giving them a pill and just trying to help them out that way.
Well, just all the celebrities that have just, I mean, even Prince just passing. I mean, when do you not look the other way? It's just, so I don't know. And I know that Ballers is a comedy. I'm such a dark person. I'm like, oh my gosh. And then he's going to push Vernon down the stairs, and then he's going to steal his pills. My mind goes so crazy, having,
we forgot to
oh my God, paying another athlete to hurt someone. And I don't know. I just go
And can we forgot to discuss the whole thing with Vernon. And so now if Vernon's leg is hurt, so then homie, you just messed up because now
no $1,500 a week, that's for sure.
No, nothing. Did you see how quickly he turned to blame the other guy?
No.
What did you do?
But also remember, I recall doing season 1 that Vernon got, it was an insane amount of money, plus he got a signing bonus. So even if he loses and can't play football, he's sitting on at least about maybe $5 million before he goes.
We don't know what kind of bills he has because they seem to like to spend frivolously.
Yeah, he had to borrow all that money from Spencer.
Oh yeah,
he
owes. Did he? Oh,
well, that was in the beginning, but
but
at season 2 he wound up getting another deal.
Right, that's
so
true.
He is actually sitting on a lot of money, although 9 months has passed by.
Oh,
so,
Reggie, it's like you love him and you hate him.
Yeah. What you guys have any predictions?
I think that is going to be a sticking point, exactly how Vernon got injured, because what if something comes back with the contract that he wasn't supposed to be paintballing, or they have those little clauses in the contract that could void his contract or something. I think that we're going to see some problems with that.
Well, he just shot him because he's so mad that it's not, $3,000?
Yeah, he wants $3,000 and Vernon
silly.
offered him $800.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's going to know that it was
that is
Reggie.
the point of the game, though, to shoot the people.
That's true.
If you see them, but yeah.
All right, well, let everyone know where you guys can be found on social media.
I can be found at Stiletto Jill everywhere, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat. Make sure you follow me, hit us up.
And you can find me at Suzette Babb. Ask us questions. We'd love to hear your questions and talk about it here on the show.
And you can find me on our social media at Bamm Ericsen. And thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you guys next week for Ballers, Season 2, AfterBuzz TV. Thank you guys so much.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.